in the parking lot.
I'll pick it up every time.
I do too. I'll pick it up at somebody else's establishment just because. Just because. But everyone's responsible to keep the facility up. So if you see a piece of paper, pick it up. If you see a spot over here, wipe it off. Everyone's responsible. But 9 times out of 10, I will see people walk over it. It's because somewhere in our mind, we have a belief. Talk about beliefs again. We have this belief that says either not my job, or we pay a cleaning company to do it, or somebody else is going to get it, or I don't have time to get it, or they're out to lunch and they don't even notice. Most often that's what happens. They don't notice. But you know who does notice? Your OCDs. They're going to notice, and they're going to be the ones that pick it up every time, and they're going to start getting resentful and frustrated that nobody else does. Okay? So, all of that is part of your internal marketing. Internal marketing is also taking photos of your patients, having fun little experiences, and posting them on Facebook. That can be part of your social, but it can also be part of your internal marketing and how you meet their rules and how you meet their need for significance and their need for connection. We're going to talk about the 6 human needs a little bit later. So, internal marketing is all the things we do to retain our patients and create raving fans. External marketing is how we communicate our brand to the outside world to draw new people in who believe what we believe, who value what we value. Social marketing is how we engage them outside of the office, how we show them another side of ourselves. Okay? Then we have enrollment. Enrollment and sales have the exact same outcome. But especially in the healthcare profession, when someone says selling dentistry, make the sound of how that feels. I want you to sell dentistry. Give me the sound. Boo. So you want me to sell dentistry? I personally, this is my personal belief. Alex can share with you his personal belief. John can share with you his. My personal belief is that it is unethical and immoral to sell dentistry. To sell basic restorative, to try to sell something someone needs, or actually sales insinuates you're trying to sell them something they don't need. That's unethical and immoral and should be illegal. Now, enrolling elected things or selling elected things like smile designs and makeovers that are more life-enhancing things, they're totally elective, they're not basic needs. Yes, those things we can sell. Or, for lack of a better word, those are things we can enroll patients in. But make no mistake, I do not believe in pushing a bunch of stuff on your patients they don't need, they cannot benefit from, that only serves your bottom line. You should be ashamed of yourselves. That is not why healthcare was designed. But to guide patients in making a decision that is in their best interest, that will improve the quality of their life, that will enhance their health, that will help them live longer, that's a win for everybody. True or false?
True.
That's true for everyone. So what we're in the business of is giving patients what they value while addressing what they need. And if you can do that in an elegant way, you never have to worry about selling anything. Never. Nor should you. Again, it's not about sales, it's about influence. Sales carries with it the word sales. I've never been a big fan of it. But the word sales carries with it certain hidden connotations. So, describe for me, give me some words from the audience about what a salesperson is. Describe a salesman. Pushy. Selfish. Greedy. Sneaky. Crooked. Manipulative. Obnoxious.
One way.
Tenacious.
Tenacious.
That's why we don't like sales. Used cars, tire kickers, schmoozer, liar. That's why we're opposed to sales, because it carries with it all of that stuff. But if I were to give you another word, and I already gave it to you this morning about what sales really is, because we're all salespeople. If you are a parent, you are a salesperson. If you are a spouse, you are a salesperson. If you are a business owner, you're a salesperson. If you're a sister, brother, leader, partner, team member, all of us are in the business of sales, but we don't call it sales because it's actually influence, which is the word we already used earlier. Enrollment is about influence. Enrollment is about being able to communicate with someone in such a way that you can help them get past the limitations they're creating so that they will make the decisions that are in their best interest. Make the decisions that will get them what they want. Maybe you want it for them, but it's not about what you want. It's not about pushing on Carla, look, do this, do this, do this, you should do this, you should do this, do this, do this, do this. That's not what it's about. It's about finding out, what does Carla want? What is the need Carla has that I can fill? What is the desire that she has that I can be the solution for? That's what enrollment is. And that's all it is. It's about being the solution. It's about finding a solution. Even if you can't deliver it, you know where to direct them. Or even if you have several options, you know, based on their values and their rules, you know which options are optimum, which options are ideal. How many of you follow me here? Yes? How many of you feel a little bit better about this marketing enrollment now that you know I'm not going to teach you sales skills? Okay, how many of you feel better knowing that I'm not here to teach you these flashy little techniques about how to do the puppy dog clothes and, you know, the take it home clothes? I'm not here to sell you on any of that. Oh yeah, all the different, if you've ever been through sales training, they try to teach you all of these little sneaky manipulations on how to get the sale. You don't have to do that. As a matter of fact, one of the books Jessica got for us for this weekend is this book right here. One of the best books on influence I've ever read. This is actually an audio book, so you can listen to it on the way home. The 1 Minute Salesperson. Again, it says salesperson, but this book is a very quick 1 to 1.5 hour read about how to get good at finding out what people want, how they want it, and giving it to them the way that they want it. That's all it is. That's all enrollment is. Finding out what Spring wants, what are her rules for how she wants it, and then I give it to her the way that she asks for it.
What if they only want what insurance gives them?
Yes.
Then we haven't tapped a value. We haven't tapped a value. So I'm going to share something with you guys. I do want to give you a restroom break. She's been sitting here for a little bit, and I can see eyeballs starting to float, and feet's getting fidgety, and some ears are leaking in the back. But when we get back, I'm going to share with you how the questions that we ask actually lead patients to tell us, I only want what insurance will pay for. How we set the conversation up is dictating whether or not they will do that. So we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Jessica, do we have some music cued? Can you give them an update on who's in the winning for the book today? Who's in the running?
Dr. Apple.
Woo, woo, Dr. Apple, woo! The smallest team in the room. Y'all better get your stuff together. You're about to get spanked. So, it is 10 minutes after 3. How about a quick 10-minute restroom break? And then let's jump back in, so actually be back in here at 3.
So your new life is traveling around the country, selling your new business. That's your old life, your new life.
You'll never guess, right?
Never. I mean, you know, like, I'm not surprised, but I mean, yeah, I don't take anything for granted. I've learned that, so I mean, you're obviously an entrepreneur. going on. So, but usually most people kind of stick in one lane, right? They kind of didn't know that. What's the name of it? Really? Apparently that's a pretty lucrative industry. I didn't realize. George Clooney just sold his. What are you important?
Yeah, nice buddy.
It's just like suction cups.
Yeah, let me see that pic. I have to approve it before it goes on Facebook. I try to make that girl look funny.
I look tired.
You are tired. Alright, I'm intrigued by this pink drink. I need to know what you're up to here. I need to know what you're up to here. Okay. Okay.
You work out your body to sleep.
You don't have to take it off. You take it off.
Your body is always anabolic.
So how many of these do you drink a day? One big gallons like that?
I'll drink. I'll finish it.
Wasn't that?
How many gallons do you drink?
Are you training for something?
I am. I've got practice.
So you bodybuilder?
Kind of not the. It's a new division that they're doing. It's not the. Don't need coffee. Yeah. Good room now. I'm good.
Have some.
No, I have to
Good for you.
From the very bottom.
I told him, I said,
It's not your NO, it's
I've been watching him with this little bag of tuna protein and now this, and I'm like, he's up to something.
Yeah. He's about to do a competition in 12 weeks, 14 weeks.
Is this something you've done for a long time?
I've never done it. I've trained for 2, but I didn't. My prep didn't go the way I intended it to. So it is so I had to be
Is it by age group?
No, it's about height. So you can only be, that's how they keep your division, that's how they keep people. You don't be big people.
Right, right. Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, good luck.
I'ma make that thing use the combo be like Joe A. I already know what you're trying to say.
Oh,
We gotta rent this freaking Mayweather McGregor fight.
and when?
I gotta watch this thing.
Mayweather's just so arrogant. He just makes my skin
I hope
crawl.
he gets his face turned into a billboard.
It's a good color for you. Chartreuse.
I have no idea. I call it like lemony yellow, limey yellow, chartreuse. But yeah,
Same color as the internal marketing bubble up there.
almost. But yeah, Mayweather, every time I see him, he gets more arrogant and more just. When you going back to Murfreesboro? Why don't you go to the embassy? Oh, because you've got.
Sorry, this is just a top spot.
Who's first one here? Actually, neither of us. I'm middle, he's youngest. We have an older brother. Oh, the 2 I'm most seasoned. That's not bad. Where'd you get those? Are they organic aminos or are they synthetic? Can you get natural? Oh, I was gonna get you.
I was running 18. I got it.
are you at now?
I gotta get all you can get to around 190, 195. Just for
You're gonna be tiny, man. That way you're gonna be tiny. I won't even recognize you.
So let me show you something. Sorry, can I show him something? That meme I created of you from your high school to first year of college.
He's like, I don't know, can I see?
Let me see. I created this a while back for him. Let me see if it's in my favorites.
I tell you what I may do. I may leave here. Because you're going to finish up at 5.
Yeah, I may let him out just a little bit early because we started kind of early this morning, kind of drug a little bit with the practice health
I
map.
tell you what I may do. I may go ahead and leave. And go and work it out.
Oh, I don't have the meme, but I have the 2 different pictures. Can I show him those? Okay, so that was John's senior picture. Okay. That was John's senior picture.
That's what a man child is like.
That was his sophomore year in college.
170 pounds. That's before that's
Yeah, that's when you got way too skinny.
I'll show you me at 320. Let's see.
Yeah, that's too hard.
Yeah, that was way too skinny.
You scared me, baby.
I know. There was. Liquid diet.
But no, I think that's.
You're supposed to gain the freshman 15.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I think we'll leave and break and go work it out. And meet up with y'all and have
Okay. I do. At some point tonight, Miss Sue's not bringing the kids up anymore. Chase said he didn't want to travel that far, so whatever. So after I meet with Matt, I'll be free around 6:30. And I need you to show me how to create a campaign in constant
I need to do
contact,
that before I leave.
and then do it on Facebook. Or if I have to go into Facebook,
I don't know that I
create
can
it.
match. I don't know that I can match it up with your color scheme. All that stuff.
Well, I was able to do constant contact and upload the flyer, so it looks. So can't we do it from constant contact? Okay, so just after the gym, just get with me and show me how we can do that. And Jessie will be with me too. She can show her if she can do it.
You said you won't be free. You'll be free until 6:30.
No, because Matt Dolson, he's a potential coach. Okay, I'm meeting him at the embassy at 5:30.
Got that.
Yeah. Well, just let me know. We gotta jump that. Just let me know. But I'm free around 6:30. For me personally, jury's still out. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure what I'm making it.
You know what I think we should do? This is something else we should talk about at the staff table, but like as far as the office meeting. I think every week somebody should
We have an older girl.
that is really like, or usually everybody has their own week or their own day. Has to live in it. Like because, and when I mean clean out a week, it's just in the bar. Like actually.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day.
Like, just be careful, not all of them. We back in the line. So you want to be around the line. And then you know how you have those kids that you put out. You don't have those kids. Yeah. You still have a lot. It's not just right.
His was in July.
Well, we ever do
His
that.
sister's in March. His little brother's in Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day we got gym because everybody's on vacation. Had stuff to do. Couldn't get people going to his birthday like he always his swimming birthdays. Everybody loved it going to his birthday. His sister was in the spring.
If your birthday's at Christmas or if your birthday's at Thanksgiving, you just guess.
No question.
Luck of the draw. Luck of the draw.
All right, so I want to acknowledge I am 2 minutes late on starting this back. Thank you, Jessica, for the pattern interrupt with the music. That was spot on. So let's jump back into this up here. So all of these pieces are how we actually market consistently. And this is why marketing gets so confusing. Is because there are so many different layers and so many different platforms to marketing. So again, this is how we express our brand. What do we stand for? You know, what is our customer service like? Are we creating raving fans? Do we make a strong first impression from the initial phone call to the initial entry into the office? And this is where we need to really assess, are we distinctive? Are we distinctive? Can they pick us out from a crowd? Not from our logo, not from our colors, but from the experience. Okay? Identity, we communicate our identity through our brochures, through our website, through literature we have in the office, through letterhead, stationery, signage, the different emails we use. If we do an email campaign, bless you, email campaigns through Revenue Well or whomever, are we consistently reaching out and touching our patients to maintain that connectivity? So let's look at our websites. How many of you have done a recent revamp of your practice website? Recent update, recent revamp? Okay. Recent within the last 6 to 12 months. Probably the year mark. Well, so let's look at a few qualities of what an exceptional website should be able to do, from functionality to setup. Okay.
Yes. At the end of the later it goes, I'm sorry.
Okay, the later it goes, do what?
My allergies so later in the day and it goes.
I got you. I got you. No worries. So let's look at 10 elements of a very high quality website in today's environment. So number one, they've got to be able to navigate easily. It's got to be simple, not too busy. Things cannot be too hard to find. Okay? Next, clear call to action. The call to action is something that calls them to act, whether it is a lightning special set to expire in September, if it is insurance benefits set to expire in December, if it is a call to action to take advantage of a new patient special or a product that's about to expire, or when to renew their OraCare subscription, there must be specific and clear calls to action on your website so it can begin directing phone calls to the practice. Next, the content on your website should be unique and it needs to be constantly updated. So when staff members change, when we have a changeover in our team, within the first couple of weeks of the new hire's addition to the team, get a new photo, get their bio, so that when patients are looking for you and they're trying to get to know your team, they feel like they know you before they arrive. And yes, it takes a little bit of time. Like one of my clients said, the moment we had a professional picture made, one of the hygienists that had been with his office for 20 years decided she was going to retire. A week after he spent the money to get this professional photo done. But again, it's part of keeping your website up to date and relevant and current. A lot of people, before they come to your office, even if they schedule as a new patient, most of them will most likely go to your website and find out a little bit more about you. Many of them will do it before they schedule. So your content must be up to date, it must be relevant, and it must be constantly updated. Next. Bless you. Kathy, did y'all share a drink over lunch? Your contact information, your phone number should be really easy to find, dead center at the top of the page. Don't make them dig for your phone number. They shouldn't have to click a bunch of links or a bunch of tabs to be able to find how do they get in touch with you. Phone number, dead center. Call us today to schedule an appointment, whatever you want it to say, but it should be dead center, page 1. In today's environment, it has to be mobile friendly. And actually more and more people are gravitating toward mobile websites. Not mobile friendly, but mobile websites. I forget the percentage. Alex, you probably know this. What percentage of people are using their mobile device to do Google searches?
I'll take the 80-20 rule on that.
Probably about 80%. How many of you use a laptop or a computer to do most of your Google searches? How many of you use your cell phone? And most people, while they're on your website, they want to be able to click your phone number and call immediately. We've been trained that we should just be able to click a button and be able to call. So don't make them do too much work. It creates a barrier to entry. Opt-in forms. These are little buttons that allow them to opt in to receive newsletters, allow them to opt in to subscribe to your blog, or opt in to receive a phone call back. So if they want to request an appointment. So all of these opt-in options so that we have a quality follow-up list the next day. Is your website personalized for your practice? This became a big deal in the past few years when there's been this ongoing battle between white hat and black hat marketing. There are different website companies, and I'm not going to name pro sites. I'm not going to name them. But there are many website companies out there that use black hat marketing that are all about just building a bunch of keywords into your landing pages on your website to try to click Google, to try to trick Google. Google got smart. And it started making those sites less and less relevant because it's not organic content. It's not really your content. Now I'm not saying you can't hire a website development company, but you've got to be unique in what they put up there, and white hat marketing is always going to be the most effective because it has the most integrity. Okay, yes, sir?
You make sure you own the content too.
Yes.
A lot of these folks, will put together a website for you and build, get all this stuff built, and then if you decide that you don't like them and you want to go somewhere else, you can't take your content with you to another platform. They own it. So you want to make sure that whoever your website developer is, it's your proprietary stuff. It belongs to you. It's your intellectual property. It's not theirs.
Yes.
Can I add to that as well for a second?
Yes,
Make
sir.
sure you own your own URL.
Yeah. Because that's an asset. Your URL is a business asset. So if you don't own it, you're renting it. And at some point, unless you rebrand, from Lindsay Warner DDS to Starkville Smiles, then you'll get a new URL. But if you're wanting to retain the URL, if somebody else owns it, you can't go anywhere. They've got you by the throat.
And your developer would love to just get one for you.
Yep.
Now, here's the other thing you've got to make sure you own: your reviews. There are many companies out there. Time's up. There are many companies out there that espouse being able to generate a lot of reviews for you, except if you leave them, those reviews don't belong to you. They take those reviews with them, which means all that time you spent building it and getting that traction, you lose all of it. You've got to start all over again. So make certain when you're engaging some of these companies that are helping you ramp up your marketing that you know what you own, what is proprietary, what are you renting, what gets to come with you. Okay, it's very important. Next, make sure your graphics and images, videos, not stock images, but original images when you can find them. Your before and after photos should be your patients. Not stock images you got from Lumineers or Invisalign. They should be your patients.
I think, I will pull up other dentists just to see what they're doing, or if you get a patient that's coming to our practice, just because I'm nosy. I want to see where they're coming from, and I'm curious. Every single page I pull up on a dentist is a generic picture of some people that are models that have nothing to do with our practice, their practice.
Which is why we don't trust marketing the way that we used to. We used to believe a TV ad. That wasn't that long ago. Do you guys remember when that was? That was like the late 80s, early 90s. When we actually trusted the commercials on TV. We would act based on a commercial on TV. But we have been very soured by the bait and switch deals, the bait and switch operators, right? You offer one thing, then they bring you in and it's actually something else. We've gotten a little, where'd you go? There you are. Wrong button. But we've gotten soured by all of the unmet expectations, all of the failed promises, and all of the major disappointments. We don't trust marketing like we used to, which is actually why reviews have gained such credibility, because if I can hear it from someone else who's actually done business with you, I can trust it. I don't believe what you're telling me. I don't believe your message. I don't believe it's true. I think you're pulling my leg. I want to talk to someone who's done business with you first. And I think the latest stat, Alex, you may, if you can correct me on this, make sure, I want to say the latest stat is people trust reviews 78% as much as they would trust a referral from a friend.
Correct.
There-
It does not have to be all 100% amazing.
Right, 78% see a review as just as credible as a referral from a family member or a close friend. So you have to have an ongoing campaign, an ongoing program to be constantly generating reviews, constantly, always. And again, the preferred type of review is the Google review. Even here in the Southeast, now in other parts of the country, up in the Northeast, California, in Washington, Seattle, some of the major metro areas, Yelp is really big, really big. In some places like Franklin, it's growing, but still in the Southeast, Google still seems to be the front runner for reviews. How many of you are finding that? Alex, you find that too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Google's
But
still at the top.
there's a real major layer to that. It's not just the review, it's the right review.
So tell them what a right review is.
A right review is somebody that doesn't just say, Judy is awesome. It's talking about how clean the office is, how friendly the staff is, how things were explained to them. And the most important review, believe it or not, is from who?
The most important review is from who?
It's from your doctor's mama.
Bless you.
Because if that woman goes somewhere else, then you got a problem. And just as equally as important is from every single staff member to say that not only do I work here, but I'm a patient as well, and this is why. And I would really highly recommend everybody to go home tonight or just right now, go ahead and review your office. They're the most important reviews.
I'll also say this. There's something that John and Brandon and I kind of watch for in different offices after interviewing different team members and working with an office for a while, and that is, does the team refer their friends and family to the doctor that they work for? If they don't, and we've all seen it, where you're working somewhere for a job because maybe nothing else was available, because you don't trust the quality, you question the competency, and you wouldn't want them doing work on anybody, even your worst frenemy. If your team members don't refer family members to you, you might want to dive into that a little bit and find out what is keeping them from doing so. Some family members who live across the globe, that's not a big deal, but if they're in your backyard, if they're within a 3 to 5 mile radius of your office, why would you not refer them to the doctor that you work for? And what would have to happen? How would we need to grow? How would we need to get better in order to feel good? Because, and here's the thing, they're few and far between, but there are some clinicians out there who do shoddy dentistry. I mean, just subpar to the nth degree. And some of you have probably worked in some of those offices. I know you're not working there now, but I know some of you have probably worked in some of those offices, and you refuse to refer patients. You won't let them work on you. You won't refer anyone in. If you have ever, and thank goodness you're there now, if any of your friends work in offices or any family members work in offices that they would not refer their friends and family to, tell them to get out. Because I've got to tell you, John and I have had to fire clients before because there's nothing Fortune can do to help you grow your practice if your team does not believe in you. There's nothing we can do. We can try, we can put the systems in place, they're not going to work because the team doesn't believe. How many of you have seen this happen? The team doesn't believe. So if the team doesn't believe in the doctor, there's not a whole lot that's going to save that puppy. Okay? Now, Craig grab some images. Testimonials and reviews should be on your website. They should be on your Facebook page. They should be things that you bring up every now and then and share every now and then. They should be on Google where they can see your ranking if they do a generic word search. But if you see a review that's 5 stars, but it's dated 2014, it loses credibility. Because if your last review was 4 years ago, what happened? You should have current reviews coming in every single month so that they're dated. And your patients, those that are the Johns of the world, those C-type personalities that want all of the information, they'll keep scrolling and you become more and more credible the more and more dated reviews that you have going back X number of years and X number of months. How many of you agree with that as a patient? Absolutely. So you're never done asking for reviews, and we recommend during your morning huddle, you actually look through the patients that are coming in today and identify who are the ones we want to ask for a review, who are the ones we're going to ask for the referral of their friends and family, who are we going to give a care to share card to. Always, always identify. Don't leave it to chance. The more often you identify who it is, the more likely you'll follow through, the more likely you'll get more. So it's got to be that concentration of power, that whole focused conversation. If you don't focus on reviews, you don't get them. If you don't focus on referrals, you don't get them. If you don't focus on growth, you don't get it. If you don't focus on new patients, you don't get them. Okay? And then lastly, your website should have a unified design. It should be consistent and congruent with your brand, your image, and your reputation. It should be an extension of your vision. It should be basically another you, but just an online platform. Doctors, you should have your photos and a bio, not just talking about, well, I went to this dental school and I've done this, but a bio that actually talks about why you're in dentistry. A bio that talks about who you want to be for your patients. Why this profession? Why now? And what they can come to you for. Maybe some of your outside hobbies if you feel so inclined, but really, have any of you watched the Simon Sinek video, Leaders Start With Why? How many of you have seen that video? People from Fortune. You can tell we're really adamant about training, right? Dr. B, you've seen that video, haven't you? So, this is a quick Power Marketing 101, and I'm sharing it from Simon Sinek. I did not create this. John did not create this. This is called the Golden Circle. This is called the Golden Circle. Simon Sinek did some studies, and you can go to TED and you can get his 18-minute TED Talk on Leaders Start With Why, but this is the gist of his talk, and he adds some different stories that are really interesting, really phenomenal, about the Wright brothers, about Peter Langley. How many of you know who Peter Langley is? One person.
How many of you know who the Wright brothers are? Why have you never heard of Peter Langley? Do what? Because he gave up. Peter Langley, back in, I guess it was the 1950s, somewhere in there. I'm not great with time, okay? As you guys well know, I'm not great with time. But back in the 1950s, there was this race to see who could be the first person to power manned flight. And before then, it was believed that it couldn't be done. That steel weighs more than air. It cannot be done. But NASA and some of these other people got together and they pulled together all of these resources. And they hired this guy who was like a genius. He was considered to be the best up and coming in terms of aeronautics. And his name was Peter Langley. Peter Langley was surrounded by the best engineers, the best mathematicians, the best physics, the best with physics and all that kind of stuff. I don't know all those terms. He had $50,000 of venture capital. Money was not an issue for him. He had all the resources available to be the first man to power manned flight, and no one's ever heard of it. Except her. She's dreaming about it. Why have we never heard of Peter Langley? Well, when Peter Langley was hired to be the first person to power manned flight, his reason for doing so was he wanted to be first and he wanted to be famous and he wanted to be rich. That's why he did it. He had all the resources, he had the brightest minds, he had the New York Times follow him around for months, tracking when he was going to actually get this baby off the air. Then, a few states away in Dayton, Ohio, you have Orville and Wilbur Wright, who had a vision and a mission. And what they wanted was to give access to every living person. He wanted to give everyone access to the furthest reaches of the world. That was his vision. That was their vision. And so back in the day, and I'm paraphrasing this a little bit because I'm sharing it from Simon, but back in the day, every time Orville and Wilbur went out to test their new flying machine, they took with them 5 extra sets of spare parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for dinner. They surrounded themselves with people who had no college education, had no formal skill, had no real knowledge except that these guys had such vision and such passion and enthusiasm about what they wanted to accomplish. These people just followed. And then lo and behold, one day, they were the ones who got credit for the very first man-powered flight. The New York Times were not there. No one saw it. No one reported it. No one even got wind of it until, if memory serves me correctly, about 2 weeks later. But when Peter Langley got the news, he quit. He could have said, this is phenomenal. We can make this better. Let me couple what you guys are doing and pull the resources of all these people that I have, and let's speed this process up. Let's make it better than we ever could. But he didn't. He didn't get rich. He wasn't first. He didn't get famous. So he quit. Now, most people will say the reason they're not achieving their goals is because they lack what? They lack resources. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the support system. I don't have the advisors. But here's what Simon Sinek taught us in that. He said it's really not about that. He said, really and truly, from a marketing perspective, most companies market completely wrong. Here's how they market. They go up to a customer and they say, we have this amazing product. Let's take computers, for example. We have this amazing product. It comes in a slim design, it is portable, it has the highest memory, the fastest operating system. Well, what is the computer?
How do they offer these incredible computers? It's through the slim design, the portability, the lightweight, the fast operating system, the Intel Core processor, the navigation, all of those kinds of things. And then they'll say, do you want to buy one? In your office, how often have you had a patient sitting in a chair and they need a crown? And you tell them what they need, and then you begin describing what it is that they need. How many of you have heard this play out like this chair side in your office? So the challenge with this is what we referenced earlier, is that this right here, you're only speaking to the conscious brain or the neocortex. You're only speaking to the part of the brain that processes logic. And our decisions to buy are not logical, they are emotional. So when we're marketing outwardly, or when we're trying to enroll a patient in treatment, Simon says all of the commercial geniuses follow the same pattern. The Wright brothers, Martin Luther King did the same thing, and I'm using examples from his book and from his TED Talk. But he said the way we have traditionally marketed is completely wrong. We go from the outside in, we should be going from the inside out. Starting with, why does this patient need this treatment? What are all of the risks that they're running into, or all of the benefits that they could see? Why is it critical that they get this done, or why is it critical that they follow through? Why are you in business? What do you believe? The why is all about what you believe. What you believe about what you can offer, or the quality of work that you do, or the power of the work that you do. So he said if you lead with the why, and you go from why to how to what, that's where sales happen. Because he says, and I believe this, he says your outcome is not to do business with everyone who needs what you're selling. Your outcome in business is to do business with everyone who believes what you believe.
How do you spell Senek's last name?
S-I-N-E-K.
S-I.
And bonus, he's going to be at Dennis Flies Around the World. He's one of our keynotes. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't that the same kind of principle as with the, word right now, but, how you get your goals accomplished?
Yes.
Like, you have to have
Yes.
your why in order to make it happen. Because if you don't have a why, if you don't have that anchor, then it's not possible.
Give that woman 10 points. That's absolutely true.
I think this is that not only if you don't have a why to happen, but even when you're doing it, life happens, then you don't have a why to get and abort what you want because you don't have it.
Because it got too hard. Because it got too hard, it was too much, it wasn't worth it. Just wasn't worth it. So yeah, he said if we start with, this is what we believe, this is why we do what we do. And this is how we do it. So at Fortune Management, we believe that you don't grow organizations, you grow people. And the people grow the organization. We believe in the ability to teach people how to create their future in advance so that they can have an extraordinary life, not just the doctors, but every single person that partners with the doctors. And we believe that everyone has the ability to achieve financial freedom, to have life balance, and to really have a life that's beautiful. We do this by training them on different personal development strategies, different state management strategies, as well as on the business side of how to master life and how to master their business. What we offer is executive coaching. But that's why we do it. And I'm curious, those of you who work with myself or John or Paul, how many of you feel that when you're with us? That that's really what we're in it for. Raise your hand if you feel that you know that that's why we're here. That's what we want for you. And the coaching program is how we deliver, but it's not why we do it. So when we get good at organizing, and Sarah hit the nail on the head, it's the same process by getting clear about what you want knowing what your massive action plan is gonna be, and then hitting it hard and heavy so the outcome is exactly what you get. And, by the way, this is also in Simon's video. If I were to take Shay, and I wouldn't do this because she's, but if I took a saw and I cut off the top of her head to where her brain was exposed, the human brain looks like the golden circle. This whole center is our limbic brain. This is our emotional brain. This is the one that is responsible for behavior and impulses and decisions. The other two parts are our Homo sapien brain and our neocortex, which is responsible for all of our logical thought, all of our rational thought. But rational thought does not move behavior. If it did, all of us would have butts like apples. All of us would have six-packs. All of us would drink amino acids and green drinks. We would never eat meat. True or false? If our logical brain influenced behavior, why would any of us eat hamburgers or pizza or dump alcohol in? Or why would any of us do that? Because logically we know better, true or false. But until that emotional part is tapped, we won't behave on that logic. Just not how it works. So, being able to express that through your website, being able to express that through your case presentation, being able to prove that at every touch is what will create a following and ultimately a movement. Where you have so much demand coming in, you can't see everyone trying to beat a path to your door. But we've got to recognize the way we communicate the message, it probably has to be structured a little bit different. How we communicate with our team. When we were doing the correction format and we talked about consequences, consequences are the why. Consequences are the why. Jim Rohn said, a week of neglect will cost you a year of rebuilding. A week of neglect will cost you a year to rebuild. So, all of these things, go back and evaluate your website. Do we have all of these functions in there? How does it need to improve? Do we need to revamp it? Do we need to at times, do we need to rebrand? Ladies and gentlemen, at times, is it necessary to rebrand?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Can I just add one more piece of advice?
Oh, of course.
Some of the most amazing websites that I've seen recently have video bios. And that just touches everybody in the most personal digital way I've ever seen. And I've been reading bios for years and years, and they're really cool that, I've been in dentistry since 1997. I love to see patients, this and that. But some of the things that are missing are, why do I love working in this office? Why do I believe in our team and our doctor and everything else? And I think that just makes a huge difference when people are really researching that big why of why do we do what we do here in this office. And
when I'm surfing those dental websites, when I go to these other dental websites, the first thing I click on is meet the team.
Yes.
I don't click on what they do, what their specialty is. I'll hit meet the team.
And is that missing in there, that I love working here because of?
Yes, it is.
And
It
I
tells
really
me all
think it
about
changed.
each person, which I find interesting.
I like tennis, I bake cherry pies,
Okay.
that's fantastic.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what these bios are all about. Not today.
Not today. Not anymore. People want to know what you stand for. What do you stand for? What movie was that? What movie was that? Oh, Regina King. What do you stand? Oh, Jerry Maguire. Do you remember when she was talking to Jerry? Like, what do you stand for? Do you know what you stand for? In a sea of sharks. Do you know what you stand for? So, all of these different, now here's the good news about your online and your social media. You don't have to play with all of them. Pick one or two. You'll get inundated. There's so many different choices. Pick one or two. Facebook is obviously the most popular. Twitter's becoming more popular, especially with the millennials. YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet.
Really?
Yes.
It's owned by Google.
Do what?
It's owned by Google.
Yeah, and it's on by, so most people go to Google first to search, but how many of you want to read a 3-page article on how to build your own deck, or how many of you would go to YouTube and say, video on how to build your own deck? YouTube.
I videoed how to hang a painting the other day.
I didn't know
Because
how
I-
to do a lobster tail. Watched it tutorial.
I'm not joking.
I'm telling you, I love YouTube. I would much rather see someone do it than read an article and think, okay, did they mean this? And not only that, but reading an article, you get the words. You don't know, sometimes you know when they're trying to be sarcastic by the punctuation that they use, but when they're there and talking in video and you get all of their presence, it just makes a big difference. You can pause it if you need to without having to scroll through and find the part where you missed, right? Not only that, but it's much easier to watch a video driving down the interstate than it is to read an article. And you all know you're playing on your Facebook. We don't, because we have an agreement. But how many of you have been scrolling through? Be honest. Don't play like I'm the only one who has ever done this.
I do it at a red light.
Thank you.
I do.
It's still illegal to red light, but
I know,
me
I
too.
heard it.
But I can pop on a YouTube video, sit it up on my little thing and drive, and I can glance over and I get the full thing without having to take my eyes off the road. That's why podcasts are so popular. You can get so much education on your commute to work just by listening to podcasts and just dumping so much in. Eventually it's going to come out, but you've got to be dumping the right stuff in. So, pick which social media platforms you're going to engage with and be consistent. Be creative, be unique, but be consistent. Have someone in your office, one person sourcing your social media, but everyone in the office is responsible for adding content. So what that means is if Janine is the social media or the marketing source in Dr. B's office, she's the one making sure that the posts get made, that they are relevant. She's accountable for making sure she's getting feedback and input and content from everyone. She's accountable to get it done, but she doesn't have to do it all. One person must source your marketing. One person must source and be accountable for your social media, but everyone contributes. How many of you understand what I mean there? Everyone contributes, okay? Now, I'm going to let Alex speak to this a little bit because these are your patient reminder systems. And used to, back when, do you guys remember what the first patient reminder system was? No, not me, no. No, I mean actual patient, like electronic patient communication system. Who was the first company? Smile Reminder. They are now Solution Reach, right? But they started out as Smile Reminder. I remember the first time they were at the Hinton, and I thought, this is the coolest freaking thing ever. Ever. And now all of these other companies have come out. But here's the thing to know about this. They have gotten so functional in what they can do. When Smile Reminder first came out, all you could do was email and text. That's it. And it was all bulk. You couldn't narrow it down. You couldn't customize it. It was whatever theirs was, and that's what got sent. Then we had all these other companies emerge. One of my favorites now, and I've played with all of them, but that's why I have Alex here because Revenue Web really is my favorite now because of its functionality, because of everything that it will do, and because I get to talk to him once every couple of months, and every time I'll talk to him, it'll be like, is it doing this? And he'll be like, we're working on it now. Not yet, but we're almost there. Not yet, but it's on our radar. Not yet, but probably early 2018. So I know they are constantly innovating their software, which I like because dentistry is changing quickly. So Alex, can you spend just a couple of minutes?
Sure.
And just give them a quick education on how their patient reminder system should be used for it to be most effective and what all functions they want to use it for.
Well,
Here, come on up here.
I'm very shy.
Alex Nudell.
So I'll take a couple of minutes, and I don't like the words patient communication and reminders anymore. I'm big into patient engagement. And so Revenue Well, what started out with this big, massive, we'll just send everything to everybody, have a good time and enjoy it. People started turning things off. When is it too much? So we're big on sending the right message to the right patient at the right time, for the right reasons. And so instead of just blasting people, we can actually read teeth numbers and perio pockets and dental codes and charts and treatment that has been proposed but yet to be accepted. So we're kind of, what we can consider marketing, it's all patient care. It's something that the doctors have diagnosed the patient, they need a crown, and that's what we're gonna go after. When it comes to reminders, there is such thing as too much, but we have to understand the masses. Again, like Reagan says, 80% of the patients enjoy the reminders in many different ways. And I think that every single office is so unique and so different, and their patients are as well, that you gotta figure out what's your best balance in doing so. So Facebook, Twitter, all of these things, YouTube, can be integrated into just one system. What I found out is a lot of the people that run somebody else's Facebook, if they're no longer there, it gets shut down, we lose it. So Revenue Well is partners with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, so now you run it through the system instead of logging in, and because you have to have a personal account in order to have a business account. So Doc was saying that too much information, I want to shut you down. Reagan was saying, hey, let's show them the trip to Hawaii. Well, I think that we need to really find a big balance here and never show a trip to Hawaii to our patients.
Never.
To our patients, absolutely not. To our friends, always. Hey, there's Doc ziplining, he spent $10,000 on vacation because he works so hard and he continuously educating himself, right? Like, I want to see that, but as a patient, I don't. That's just my truth, and the way that it is. No. So all of this.
That's where all the payment goes for my crown.
Well, exactly, there you go. And that's the way it is, right? Because they don't realize what it takes. So my ex-wife and current wife are both dentists. And they're the hardest working ladies in the whole entire world. You know, I have my daughter that is coming up and she's gonna be a dentist as well. So these people that are dentists and they're caregivers and they do things because they do them for the right reasons, they deserve everything in the world, just like we do. But it's not appropriate to show the patients that we're taking this plane and that we're going onto this mountain, we're gonna do these amazing things, because just like you said, the perception is like, we paid for that, that crown is no longer worth $1,200. Doc, you're gonna take 1,000, because you should, so that's one of the things. But when it comes to patient communication, bad words, today's market is patient engagement. We need to engage our patients in a really unique way. So we were doing, for instance, reminders. Reminders are very important because our schedule is one of the most important things that we have. If that falls apart, then we just have a really bad day. So you can set up your reminders in many different ways, but if you're doing a reminder in advance to make sure that the patient scheduled 3, 4, 6 months ago, we can also use it for marketing. We can say, hey, chances are you're coming in for a hygiene visit, and that's the best time to whiten your teeth. So I went from doing 5 whitenings a year to 40% of my patients getting whitening every time, and that's okay. And if you drive the message simply, because we value your time, we're reaching out to you in advance so you can schedule it. More and more patients are willing to do things same day because they can schedule it, than if you ask him to come back. That may not be the possibility, even though that they want to, it's just not on their schedule. So when it comes to the communication, let's talk about, we're gonna do a treatment plan follow-up, right? A lot of people are afraid of doing treatment plan follow-ups. It's too much, but just think about it, if you do it automatically and you set yourself up for success. See, a lot of these companies say, don't make phone calls, use the system. I use the system to make that phone call. What does that mean? That, you know, if I'm gonna paint the door, if I'm just gonna paint over the old paint, it might not be as good as if I'm gonna strip it, and then I'm gonna, you know, prep it and then polish it. So for instance, to call somebody the very next day and follow up on treatment plan may not be appropriate. What are you gonna say? But to send an email that has patient education videos, that talks about that particular patient, that talks about maybe making it more affordable with the care credit or something like that, the very next day is appropriate, and then we make a phone call and it sounds just a little bit different. So our system basically helps you acquire these new patients, helps you retain patients, and helps you get treatment acceptance.
When you go through and you do your homework and you turn on the right.
Campaign.
Right.
And when you set it up for your own office. And we'll talk about all of these fun things, but today, marketing is fantastic, the actual way we deliver things. But if we do patient care, it becomes so much easier for us to be engaged into it. Because we're saying, hey, Mr. Jones, here's your information on the ground that the doctor proposed. And this is what we need to do. The words concern, we're concerned about you, just play it very different. I've been marketing for so many years, and I'm probably one of the most vicious marketers. I've spent over $20 billion of people's money, and I do not consider myself a marketer anymore. I want to make sure we connect with the people for what they need and leave the rest of the people alone. Our patients are more than just a bank account.
Well, and can you speak to, I don't want to interrupt, but can you speak to about, in the Revenue Wheel software, because I know different softwares will send your reviews to different places. Some will send them to Health Grade, some will send them to a third-party site or their third-party site, you know. So, but through Revenue Wheel, they have the option of where they want their reviews to go, correct?
Correct. So we'll take in every place that you have a review, Google, Yelp, Yahoo, and everything else, where you already have these reviews, and we'll pull them in. And then we'll make a decision, what are we really gonna go after? Do we want those Google reviews? Do we wanna allow patients directly from us to go to Google, or do we wanna see the reviews first? And then once we get that Google review, can we really now position it onto our website? Can we put it on Facebook? Can we get to control what's out there in our environment? And do I look like the biggest control freak in the world? Absolutely, because that's how things work well in our business, is when we control them. So absolutely, we get to decide what goes where. That doesn't mean that if there's a bad Google review, we can take it off. Nobody can do that. Or can we take a review that we got into Patient Connect 365 and put it on Google? That's not the way it works anymore. So collectively, your team gets to decide what you want to go after and get your Google reviews the right way, because the right message matters most. I encourage our patients, I actually tell them, hey, Mr. Jones, doctor's looking to increase her visibility online. Are you willing to help? And they'll say yes. And that's why we identify the Gmail people on our morning huddle. And they'll say, what do you want me to do? And I'll say, I need you to review us. But what I need you to say is the same thing that you normally would say to a friend or a family member when you referred us. That's the major difference. It's no longer Judy's cool, because we know Judy's cool. But why should somebody else come to this office? That's what we need you to say. And in order to get those, you've got to prep it. Tonight, you will receive an email from us. And it's really important. And if you don't do it, it's okay. Next time you come to our office, no anesthesia for you, okay, buddy? Because we don't charge for anesthesia, do we? There's no separate charge, there's no line item. So make it fun, make it exciting. Yahoo's not as important anymore, Bing is not as important anymore. G+ is just, there's no value in there. I think Facebook is important, you can control it. Facebook, if you look at the Facebook reviews, typically what you get is 5-star. And that's amazing, but what does that say about us? Absolutely nothing. So the value is here. YouTube, free Google marketing. That is important. From patients being able to connect with you prior to coming into your practice. For you to be able to say, hey, welcome to the practice. Here's a video of all of us having a good time, but we're serious. And then once they land on your YouTube channel, you can control what they see. So Doc right here, if Doctor talks about why they're here, what do they do, what is their philosophy, That should be the next video. The ability to provide services in a single visit because you value your time. The ability of taking a Galileo scan or anything else like that. This is what the patients are looking for. We do post-op instructions through our videos. And so patient walks out, we see the code of the services that were rendered, post-op instructions go out right away, it gets recorded. But more than that is the next step. We have to take them through the journey. Today you had your tooth extracted, and I'm sorry about that. So rinse with the rinse that we gave you, don't smoke, don't drink through a straw, all of that. And in a week, automatically, should go out the second step of that. Chances are we spoke about implants. There's a very good chance that you already have an appointment with us for your post-op. If you don't, schedule it right now. You just done root planning and scaling. Your next step is perio maintenance. These are the things that change everything in your patient engagement. And there's nothing wrong with that. So YouTube is probably number one. So everybody's got a tool in their pocket or in front of them somewhere that they can record these videos. They do not need to be professional. Happy birthday, happy holidays. If you think about it, they're some of the few good items. But from what we're tracking, over 6,000 patients, customers of ours, 50 million patient records, kind of neat. Those are the best patient reactivation campaigns we've ever seen. To where we don't ask them for anything. We're just saying, hey, we care about you, happy birthday. Triggers them to say, well, I haven't seen you guys in a long time. You know, patients come in regularly, and we have a huge amount of your patients on the schedule for future appointments. At least you should. The procrastinators, the non-compliant patients, that's up to me. I have to get them, and I have to make them compliant. And I can do it in many different ways, but that small happy birthday, we're thinking about you, that's where it helps you to re-engage them, which is not the only way that you should do it, but that's one of the ways, one of the 5 ways to do it. So we were talking about internal marketing. Internal marketing is recall. Internal marketing is treatment plan follow-ups. Internal marketing is patient reactivation. Internal marketing is anything that we can engage our patients, but you have to understand that most of the time too much is too much. Lasting patients today is absolutely not the way that we do it. So I'm going to ask you a question before I sit down. Raise your hand if you were raised by people that taught you, I know you're raised, but by people that taught you, treat others the way you want to be treated. Seriously. All of us, right? So my 19-year-old says that that's absolutely rude, it's insensitive, and don't treat me the way you want to be treated, that because you like pain. And I said, well, what'd you think? She goes, you have a sleeve on your arm, right here, this big, huge tattoo. Treat me the way I want to be treated. So we have to take that into consideration today. Times are changing. We need to be able to adapt. And that's the most important thing. So treat people the way they want to be treated. Give them everything. Don't assume they can't afford it. Who can answer how much is Invisalign?
At our office, full set 5,600.
5,600. 52. Ask me. As low as $199 a month.
Trickster.
I'm not a trickster. I haven't bought a car in 20 years. I buy payments. I buy $299 payments. It gets me into a Nissan Altima. That's what I buy. So the mindset is really cool because 5,600, a lot of people will say yes. Well, more people say yes to 199. Okay, so these are the things that we have to, yes, it's 5,600 ultimately, but it could be as low as 199 if you put a $1,000 deposit, it could be this, it could be that. So a lot of fun when it comes to patient engagement. YouTube is your #1 friend. Your #1 friend, yes.
Is there still like a time limit, or has that time limit changed where like you want most of your videos under 90 seconds or under 60 seconds? Is that changed as far as the trends go, do you know?
Well, here's what I do. I hook them with the minutes and encourage them to watch others. That's what I do. I actually give them post-up instructions, which takes 30 seconds, and encourage them to read the other 2 pages that are attached to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here, hanging out with you guys, learning stuff.
So again, I know several of you, some of you are using Revenue Well, some of you are using others. And I think the key to it is to set it up, to make sure you've got a system that you can customize, to make sure that you can customize it and schedule it the way you want the alerts to go out. And one thing that Alex showed me last night, which I love, is that Revenue Well is one of the few systems that you can go in and micromanage individual patients. So if you have this patient who doesn't want to receive email, but you have all these other patients that do, you can just unclick it on this one patient. Or if this patient doesn't want to receive text messages but wants the other ones, you can unclick that. So you can go in and micromanage individual patients, which very few systems will allow you to do. Most of it is the same thing for everybody. And the fact that it can now read codes and can go in. Oh, the best thing I learned last night about this one, again, other systems may do this, but I've really been studying Revenue Well for the past little bit, so I've been pretty somewhat familiar with the others. How many of you have some patients that have multiple treatment plans to address the same condition? Revenue Well is smart enough, it can tell that all 3 of those are for the same patient. So when you do like an unscheduled treatment or treatment reactivation campaign, it automatically recognizes. If these are, let's say the patient came back and they agreed to one treatment plan, it doesn't even, it voids out, it doesn't void them, but it ignores the other 2 plans because it knows the treatment's already been delivered.
We look at the tooth number or the area. So if a tooth is missing, but you didn't place the implant, but it has an abutment and crown, starts with a D60 code, we know that it's not really missing. If you proposed, for instance, an MOGBL composite, or a crown, or could be endo buildup and crown, deliver one of them, but you still have the other 2 treatments as pending, we know that there's been remedy and not going to go after. The only thing that we will not consider a permanent or a final restoration is a flip or partial or anything else. We know we should engage with the patient to do something more if it's possible.
Okay, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
that. So just make sure that you're, and the other thing I would say, and I don't know how much Alex would agree with me here, but I'm sticking to my guns because this is what I stand for, and that is, do not rely on this system alone. If you work with me, you know my philosophy. Dentistry is and always will be a relationship business. You cannot rely on reminders and automated emails alone. There must be some contact from you.
I agree.
Must be. Must. Because you are in the business of selling something people don't want. They don't want it. They don't look forward to it. They're not eager to get in there. So the more connected we can stay with them, the easier the whole thing is going to be. And again, that whole engagement conversation. So external marketing, your external marketing should be comprehensive in that you have multiple tactics. Tactics are what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it. Strategy is how all of the tactics reinforce the brand and your reputation. So that is having a marketing calendar where everyone on the team knows specifically what's happening each month. We are doing at least 5 to 10 things in the marketing arena that touch on each of those 5 aspects of your marketing. Your marketing strategy should include 5 to 10 things that hit on each of those every single month. Everyone on the team needs to know what campaigns you're running, what we're doing, what promotions are we running, what specials do we have going, so that they can be the next line of defense on engaging the patient when they come in about what campaigns you have going and how they can take advantage. So making sure, so yeah, marketing strategy and marketing plan, so they intersect a little bit. Plan is just a step-by-step, the strategy is how we implement it. How many of you feel like you have a very comprehensive, very strategic, and well thought out marketing strategy? Very few. Very few. It's almost like historically, healthcare has approached marketing kind of like we do the schedule. It's dartboard. Well, I'll try this. Well, let's try this. But if you really look at it from a patient's perspective or look at it from a business view, it's really what are we doing internally to prove our vision, to create raving fans every day and to generate reviews and stickiness? What are we doing externally to inform our community about what we do? And external, I'll tell you, here in the South, maybe it's not this way in Jersey or Miami or even San Francisco, in the South, community involvement is still number one. Grassroots marketing, still number one. Still. Because again, people want to know who they're working with. They want to know who they're letting into their life. So the more involved we can be in the community, in most aspects. Now granted, Nashville or Middle Tennessee and even East Tennessee have some interesting, what would you call it? Some cliquish neighborhoods. True?
True.
There are some up here, so that does exist. But from a global perspective, we're still relationship people. We're still hospitality people. It is in our blood. It is in our DNA. So we have to have a presence in the community, whether it's sponsoring or being part of a local health fair, if it's sponsoring a scholarship, if it's doing a food drive, if it is doing an annual patient appreciation day. Where, like, I was with one of my teams a few weeks ago, and they started doing an annual patient appreciation day last year. They ordered, like, I don't know, a bunch of barbecue, enough to feed like 100 people. They ordered drinks. The team showed up and they sent notices out to all of their patients, come by, eat a barbecue sandwich, grab some chips, and just talk to us. It was not to market to them. It was just to engage them. It was just to get them out of the dental setting so we can get to know you a little bit better. They had people who were not patients showing up to Patient Appreciation Day. And so during our marketing workshop, they were like, how do we stop these people from showing up? This one guy had a whole plate of barbecue and we ran out and we had to go back and replenish our barbecue a couple of times. And I was just like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
You just attracted a new patient to a Patient Appreciation Day. Why would you want to stop them? Go get some more barbecue. This year, have your team serve it so you don't have people walking around with 5 barbecue sandwiches. First come, first served basis. You don't do it that way, but I wouldn't turn away new patients. Like, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? So that's what they did. They doubled up on barbecue. They're doing it again in a couple of weeks. So those types of things that are give back, that are just there to be there, anything that shows you are socially responsible. We have Freedom Day coming up on October the 12th. Which offices in here are currently signed up for Freedom Day? Who else currently signed up to participate? Beautiful. Freedom Day is actually a national thank you movement where we are in the process of creating a movement by having this program where anyone who is active duty or retired military and their immediate family can get a day of free services and products at multiple businesses in their hometown, and they get treated like kings and queens for a day.
Love it.
So they can go and get their oil changed for free, they can get a manicure, pedicure for free, they can get dental work for free. So I sit on the national committee. Part of my job is getting as many dental offices involved and then creating dental champions that will then go out and recruit more businesses. We prefer service-oriented businesses versus retail because we really do want it to be completely free. Completely. And when you get into the retail side, they have cost of goods and they have overhead and all this kind of stuff. So we don't want the families or the military personnel to come out of pocket for anything. But the offices, Dr. B, how many years have you done Freedom Day?
I've done it twice. I didn't do it last year, but I've done it twice.
You've done it twice. What was your experience with it?
It's definitely rewarding. It's great to get back.
Good. How many people did you serve that day?
Well, we did about $20,000 worth of dentistry. We did cleanings fillings and extractions. And we also have vendors there.
Yeah, and what a great, those are some great things to put on your website and on your social media, because it shows your heart and it shows your compassion for others. And it is a day where the team donates their time, so it's an unpaid day for team members. It's an unpaid day for doctors, but it's a day that you can really, really fill your bucket, because they are so grateful, are they not? They are so grateful and so appreciative, and they let you know, they pour it out on you, do they not, while they're there, because they feel abandoned by the government, they feel like their benefits are crap, and they are.
They are.
And every time they turn around, they're being shortchanged and short-sighted somewhere else, and these are people that really, if anyone doesn't deserve that, they don't. So if you haven't signed up for Freedom Day, contact me or contact Jessica. We will get you signed up, because we want to make this very prominent in Tennessee, because we have a few Air Force bases. We have 101st Airborne, we have AEDC down in Tullahoma. We've got Fort Campbell just up there near Clarksville. So there's a lot of people that can see a lot of good out of that day. And there are some offices, depending on where your practice is located, when you get the word out, and Wendy Boyce and some of the ladies at our headquarters will send you all the marketing materials, PSAs, all of that kind of stuff. But in many instances, you'll have lines out the door, and if you have a prime location, people driving down the street see that line at your door and they want to know why. They get curious, they come looking, and then your story gets out and you become the socially responsible giving dental office in your area. So I would ask as a favor to me that everyone in this room sign up and get on board with this movement. It's just a noble cause, and obviously I sit on the committee, so it's very dear to me.
And there's various ways, like you don't have to do the whole day, you can determine, how you bring others.
Yes. Yeah, and it's only same-day service. So as Dr. B said, it was cleanings, extractions, fillings. If you do CEREC, you could do same-day crowns, but that takes up a lot of time, so I probably wouldn't. But any service that can be delivered same day is what is typically delivered during Freedom Day. So if you're not signed up, please see me and sign up. I mean, all of us owe them. And it's not just the active duty military, because what we forget is the mother who became a single mother that she didn't sign up for. The father who became a single father for the next couple of years that he didn't sign up for, or the kids who became orphans that they did not sign up for. So, just, if you get a chance,
Is
sign up.
National Guard included in that as well?
Well, National Guard,
Military, yeah. They're military.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, just put on your giving hat. Team, put on your giving hat, because you won't get paid for this day, but you will definitely be paid in other ways for this day.
And Reagan, I was gonna say something that,
Yes, sir.
I was listening to the podcast about that, and, cause it, I think that the doctor that I guess the group of doctors that came out with it,
Bob
they were doing,
Martino.
they were doing the panel, and he even offered up, said that you didn't have to be on that day if you're not able to practice, or you're out of town or whatever. You can do your own, Freedom Day whenever, like within the scope of the year. Obviously, if you're there, you can plan it, for that day. But if you're not able to, for whatever reason, plan your own Freedom Day and market it. So
Yeah, because if it's all volunteer, a lot of dental
Yeah.
offices are closed on Friday, and I'm sure that particular date doesn't always fall on Friday, does it?
No, but it's not always that day. What we were looking for is getting it as close to, we originally did it close to September 11th. Now we're trying to get it to where it falls right around Veterans Day. Okay? So, and ideally, our vision, or Bob's vision, was to have a day, like the second Thursday every October. Second Thursday of every October is Freedom Day. And Freedom Day was just introduced about 5 years ago. So it's still very new. It hasn't hit mass market penetration yet. So, but yeah, right now, like we've got Sonoma does Freedom Week. Freedom Week. out in Sonoma, California. So anyway, if you haven't signed up, please sign up.
You know, sometimes service doctors that do it year round, not like free service doctors, they do year round.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of ways to play with it. That's one way to get involved. That's one way to really sharpen and broaden your reputation in the community. And it doesn't cost you anything but a day of your time. Really. There are no lab bills. It costs you a few $100s in supplies. It doesn't cost you anything other than your time, but your bucket will get so filled by that day. So look at those sponsoring sports teams, giving away logo t-shirts with a really cool tagline in your new patient welcome packet. So now you have 50 new patients walking around, basically being walking billboards for your office. And where do you wear free t-shirts? Guys, tell me, when you get a free t-shirt, where do you wear it?
To bed.
She wears it to bed. Walmart. To Walmart. Where else do you wear it? To the gym, to wash the car, to the ball field, right? Maybe to the grocery store.
No.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about wind shorts and t-shirts at the grocery store. That's right. This ain't what I look like. No. This is not what you get on a non-work day.
I'm right there with
You get my alter ego, and she is all about sporty spots. Talking about wind shorts, tank tops, tennis shoes, mostly flip-flops, hair up in a bun.
no makeup.
No makeup. No makeup. Who's with me on that?
Me, girl.
That's right. So, you're welcome. You don't get to see that side. So bottom line is, you really need to look and evaluate what are we currently doing in the area of marketing. And obviously, everything is marketing. But what I'm talking about are the tangibles. So what campaigns do we run? What promotions are we running? How do we engage them on Facebook? Any direct-to-patient advertising, newspaper, TV, radio, direct mail, all of those different things are different marketing avenues. So when you guys get back, or maybe sometime tonight if you're staying here, go through and just see, are we working with a hot mess in our marketing department, or does it have some sort of logic behind how it is structured and how it's organized, and then how it's executed? Okay? So, this is how you develop a marketing plan. So if you want the steps, go back, get your list together, see what all you're doing, but these are the steps to creating an effective marketing plan. Number one, define who your target market is. These are people that believe what you believe. This would be your ideal patient. So it could be age, goes to a certain school, certain level of education, could be certain income, could be other different demographics or socioeconomics, whatever, could live in a certain area, could be within a 3 to 5 mile radius. Bless you. But you really need to define who your target market is. Who are we trying to bring in? And where can I reach people who share the same vision that we do, who share the same passion that we do, and who believe what we believe? Next, you've got to set your goals and your timing. What do you want from your marketing? Are you trying to increase the number of referrals you get a month? Are you trying to increase the number of Google reviews you generate, or the number of online new patients that come to your practice? Are you looking to generate overall revenues? What are your real goals around marketing? And remember, the more vague the goal, the more vague the result. So you got to know this is what we want to accomplish. This is how many new patients a month we want to influence. This is how much in case acceptance we want to create from those new patients. This is our retention rate. Okay? So, and I'll tell you why this part is important, especially when we get down to monitoring the results. Well, let me tell you that story when we get to monitoring the results. So set your goals and your timing. Alex said we want to hit them at the right time with the right information and with the right frequency, right? So it's timing can be a lot. Just like some patients, they may have said no to the crown today, and we think it means no to the crown forever. It just means no today. That's all it means. I'm not ready today. So maybe the timing was off for them. We've got to represent it the next time that they're here. So look at your goals and your timing of when you want certain campaigns to hit, what makes sense, what for us seems to fall within our brand, our vision, our identity. Then create your strategies. So what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. And do each of our marketing tactics build on the next, or is it just a big jumbled mess? Does it all build on the next? So what is your strategy? Strategy is, again, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it. Okay? Set your spending plan. Ideally, now, no one in here is a startup, so I'm just going to blow right past that conversation. But in an established practice should have at least 1 to 3% set aside for marketing. A startup practice is going to have to pump about 5 to 10% into marketing just to boost, to go for volume. But an established practice, if you've been around for a number of years and you have a patient base of at least 1,500 to 2,000 patients, your marketing budget need not be more than 1.5%, and that's just to retain and keep a few newbies trickling in for specific services. Keep in mind this, write this in your notes. Every dental practice, on average, experiences 5 to 20% attrition annually. That means every single year, 5 to 20% of your patients are moving, dying, or leaving. So our marketing has to support at least replenishing those and then some if we are wanting growth. If we want stability, then you just need to maintain and replace what you're losing. Does this make sense? Yes, no, maybe? So get your budget together, look at revenues, look at how much we have, break it out across the months that you have available remaining in the year, and then see what you can invest in. And then monitor your results. Monitor what return you're getting on different dollars invested. This is why this is so important. This was about 2 years ago. I visited an office down in Charlotte, like Charlotte proper, North Carolina. And I was really excited because when I first talked to them, they had been in practice for about 4 years. They were generating over 100 new patients a month. 100. I was like, holy cow, that's phenomenal. Until I saw their new patient conversion. It was the lowest, in 20 years, lowest new patient conversion I have ever seen. Their new patient conversion was $1 to $168. But they had 100 new patients coming in every month. That's awesome. They were pumping a lot of money into their marketing. What were they not doing? Retaining. They weren't enrolling. They weren't providing the experience. They were just focused on the number, and so they have this revolving door. They could get them in as an emergency. They could do palliative treatment, but no one was enrolling into hygiene. No one was enrolling into bigger restorative cases. It was all about just get them in and get them out. There was no connectivity within the team. The communication was awful within the team and with each other, and there was no clear vision. It was just, well, we just need to get as many new patients as we can. That is very unwise. It's not about getting every new patient that you can. You don't want every new patient. You don't want every new patient. And if your enrollment skills are stellar, and if your ability to deliver a wow experience and make it unique for every single patient, Alex hit on it, he said, we were all raised with the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Today is the platinum rule, treat others how they want to be treated. Which tomorrow we're going to be building some skill in that area, how to do that. How to find out what they want and how they want it, and then how do I deliver it to them. Okay, fair enough? So when you get back to your office, you guys just need to have an item on your promise and source board that says we're going to look at all of our marketing tactics.
We're gonna look at our global marketing strategy, look at our spending plan, and we're gonna create an actual marketing, like time, set, match, marketing plan, marketing strategy. Okay, or get with me or get with your coach if your coach is not me, and we'll also build this into one of our next in-office meetings where we can lead with a January through January or July through July, July through December marketing plan just for you. Okay? So, I will end with this and then I'll get some feedback. So, this is why marketing has to be constant. This is why we have to stay in touch with our patients, whether it's electronically or through treatment reactivation or hygiene reactivation. This is why we have to be proactive there and not just be sitting back idly waiting for it to come. This diagram came from Chet Holmes' book. Chet Holmes' book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. And it is representative of the demand generation, which is the generation we're in now. Okay? This is how the generation breaks out, and this is why constant communication, constant marketing, constant reactivation, constant enrollment, this is why it's so important. At any given point in time, only 3% of your target market is actually buying what you're selling. 3%. Only 3 at any given. These are the patients who call and they broke a tooth. Right? These are the patients that call and they need a cleaning. They are in that top 3%. They are ready to go right now.
They're in pain.
They're in pain, or they've delayed it for so long, now they've passed the point of no return, they've got to do it now. Those top 3% are the ones everybody hopes for, but it's only 3% of what you could be doing. Then, underneath that, you have 7%. Okay? These are the people in your target market that are open to it. They're just not thinking about it. They're open to it. They're open to Invisalign. They're open to implants. They're open to smile design, but right now they're just not thinking about it. That's 7%. So that's the top 10% of everyone you're trying to bring in. That's like, those are the hot ones, right? Those are the ones that may come in, they're not thinking about it, but they see some literature in your office, or they see something, they say, hey, can you tell me about Invisalign? That's who's showing up in that top 10%. Now, here's where it gets fun. So, if we're not enrolling these people, first of all, you need to sharpen your skills, because these people are easy to convert. And it has nothing to do with insurance. These people are easy to convert. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. But you bypass those and you go into the next subset, which is 30%. These people don't think they're interested. They don't think they are. Is that right? No, they're not thinking about it. Thank you. Thank you. So these are the people that are just absent, they're out to lunch, they're defocused. These are the ones that are avoiding your reactivation phone calls. Right? These are the ones that are avoiding your reactivation phone calls just because they're not thinking about it. You're not high on their priority list right now. You just aren't. Don't take offense to it. Don't get your feelings hurt. Just stay in communication with them. Because the whole point here is to move people up the pyramid. You guys see this? It's all about moving them up the pyramid. So, you get those people who just aren't thinking about it. They're pretty easy. Just a little education, a little literature, and you can move them along. But then you move into the other 30%. And these are the people that don't think they're interested. These are the people who say, let me talk to my husband. These are the people that say, well, let me think about it and then I'll get back to you. These are the people that don't think they're interested. When you get uncertain feedback like that, it means you missed a value. You missed a value, you missed a rule while they were in your chair, or you missed matching your delivery with how they needed to receive it. Okay? Because they don't think they're interested, but there's still opportunity to move them up the pyramid.
The ones that are gonna save you time are the bottom 30%. They're definitely not interested right now. Keywords, right now. They're definitely not interested right now. You don't have to chase them. These are the people in session 2. I said, if they said, you know what, I really can't right now, my husband lost his job, we're just trying to maintain, we may have to move. That's when we empathize and we say, you know what, I get it. I get it. I tell you what, I don't want you to fall off the radar. We're still here for you if you need us. But I'm just making note, we'll follow up with you in like 6 months. Is that okay? So they're definitely not interested right now. Doesn't mean there never will be. Now you'll learn tomorrow when we talk about the 5 dental values and we talk about matching treatment to values, you'll learn that there are some people that have no desire to improve the appearance of their smile. Jessica and I had an interview, I was telling her this. My highest dental value is comfort. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the fact that meta programs and values change based on context. And I had this experience at the salon the other day when the new manicurist, I went to a different salon, he offered me a new way to get my manicure. And before I'd been getting like acrylic over my nails so they stayed strong and then I got the manicure on top. Well, this guy said, which one do you want? I was like, what do you mean which one? There's more? He said, yeah, do you want this one with the gel? Do you want this one with the acrylic or do you want the 2 types of acrylic? Well, what's the difference? Well, this one doesn't cost as much. He led like we all do. This one's a little bit cheaper, right? This one's the least expensive, but he said this one, the 2 tones, more expensive, but it's a lot stronger. So in the summertime, he was beautiful in his story. He said in the summertime, when you're in the swimming pool and you're gardening and you're doing all of that, the nails get punished more. So they need to be stronger or else they get flimsy. And my biggest challenge with my manicures is I'm rough on my nails, so they always pop off. And I value my time. So I like my manicures to last as long as they possibly can, right? So when he said they last longer, I thought, oh, he's gonna give me time back. But this little technique means they put on 1 layer of acrylic and then they take this little razor thing and they bury it in there until they get down to your original nail and they scrape it off and it scrapes your skin on, and it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable, but I thought, you know what? Before I went yesterday, they did my nails 3.5 weeks ago and I still had all of them. Thought, you know what? Comfort is not my highest value at the salon. That's right. It is time. So our values and our rules and our meta programs change based on context, but I thought, and I remember dreading every time he'd pull that thing down, I'd be like, but they look fantastic and they last so long and they're so gone. So just know, we treat people the way they want to be treated, and tomorrow you're going to get a really deep education on how to do this, but then you're going to have to practice. Is that fair? So, quick question. I'm going to milk this last 5 minutes and try to get you out right on time or maybe even a little bit early, okay? Was today valuable for you?
Yes. Yes.
What were your takeaways? What are you taking away from today? Yes. 90% of people would refer, but only 5% ask. Awesome. Janine gets a point. Who else? Takeaways from today. Yes, ma'am. All great leaders start with why to do it. Awesome. Yes, ma'am.
That Facebook is a very big and great tool to help generate patients, new patients coming in. You get your old patients to like your page, and then they like it, and then they share it and all that. You can get more and more. And you gotta keep up with it. You gotta have at least one review. Thank you.
One review a day.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
When someone makes a quality request,
That's enough. Good job. Give her 2 points for that one.
Decisions to buy are not logical, they're emotional.
Yes. Give her 2 points for that one. That was good. Renee?
Tone and physiology will work better than verbiage
Yes.
when making quality responses.
Absolutely. Gigi, you had your hand up, and then kind of to you, Julie.
Morning huddle, always, during the morning huddle, always check your schedule, who you're gonna ask for review.
There you go. Give that baby 2 points. Yes, ma'am.
Say it again?
Say that one more time. 5 points for this one. Listen up. Somebody showed up to play today.
Your team will only be as good as the worst behavior that you tolerate.
Boom. Yes, ma'am.
That it is much easier to invest time and money into teaching schools to have, and that type of marketing and the ones that you want to do outside.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
When someone makes a quality request for them.
Yes. It's all about them. It has nothing to do with you. Great job. Who else? I'll take 2 more, Janine. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you're not willing to repeat it, you will never master it. If you never master it, you have no skill. Randy.
I'm gonna refer to Whitney because she's afraid to say it, but it is something she needs to say, so she's got.
There is nothing that no training can overcome.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, 2 points for Whitney. That's a good one. Renee.
The best person to review your office is your mother.
Is your mama?
Yes.
Not my mama, Joe mama. Yes, ma'am.
80% of the population has Facebook. So there you go.
There you go. Boom. Gigi, did you have your hand up?
Okay, dentistry is always a relationship business.
It will always be a relationship business. Yes, ma'am. Julie.
When you're doing your quality requests and your response, I'm gonna follow up with, and I'm gonna say how I handle that, doesn't.
Yes. Yes. All right, Jessica, we need to give away some books. It's 5 minutes till. I have a commitment to get them out on time. We need a drum roll. Who is our first place book winner today? Dr. Evan. Dr. Evan, you have your choice of any of these phenomenal books up here. Choose one. Second place.
Dr. Clayton.
Columbia Dental Group. Whitney, I think you should be up there. Good. I bet you'll have it finished by the time you get home. Whitney, can I pick your book? Third place winner, Jessica. Dr. Bonnet. Divine All right, guys, thank you so much for playing full out today and for helping us celebrate Dawn reaching level 50. We will be starting promptly at 8 a.m. in the morning. If, when you registered for this seminar, you did not include your personal email, please write it on the index card in front of you. Give it to Jessica. That is how we're going to be issuing your CE. So thank you guys for playing full out. Enjoy your evening. We'll see you bright and early at 8 bells. Thank you.
This was fantastic.
Awesome.